Have you ever felt like you have no clue what you're doing, you have no clue where you're headed, and that everything is kind of just a clusterfuck, for lack of better words? That was me back in 2017. That was me before I started my journey. When I didn't know who the hell I was. I didn't know what I was meant to do. I didn't know the purpose behind any of my actions. And this was an accumulated kind of idea, I guess you could say, right? From years and years of not feeling purpose, right? From a young child. Now, some might say, well, you were a kid, you were a teenager. What purpose were you meant to have, right? And that's pretty understandable. But I don't believe, from a very long time ago, I've always been, to a degree, conscientious, right? Even as a younger child, or even as a younger teenager, I should say, where I would think about things typically more than others would. I would realize the depth of situations generally more than others would. Now, this was, for in that time period for a long time, this was like a curse to me, right? This was part of why I was so anxious. I was so anxious because I was overthinking about every little thing. I was considering every little nuance of whatever was going on, right? It felt like a curse at the time. Well, I didn't even know that's what it was, right? All I knew was that I was a generally anxious person. I thought about too much. I didn't have very exciting or compelling vision for the future at all, right? So all of that will play games in your head. You know what I mean? It'll make you run around different places. It'll make you run around in very inefficient ways, right? And I know there's a lot of people that live that way longer than I did, right? But let me tell you what I did to get on path, to get out of my own way, to realize my potential, to understand that I was just standing in my own path, that I was, you know what I mean, holding the anchor down for no reason. That all I had to do was to begin to work on my mind, to work on my mindset and how I feel about everything to make the difference, right? So like I said, I was going through this crazy time where after so long of not feeling purpose, not feeling any sort of fulfillment, I started going downhill. As things went wrong in my life, I dropped these, I quit playing sports, right? I quit sports. I had a girlfriend at the time, and, that was the comfort I needed. That was the fulfillment I needed, was our relationship, right? So I basically just dropped in the comfort, dropped out of the sports, which was like the only thing I really had going for me. Now, I kept lifting. I never quit lifting. I had weightlifting as a class pretty much every year in high school. But sports were more of, they took more brain power. They took more commitment. They were something I was actually committed to, right? So then I got in this relationship, got comfortable within it, dropped out of that commitment. And things just went downhill from there, right? Eventually, I dropped out of the commitment of the relationship, right? I mean, how committed are you at that age anyway? But still. Dropped out of that, and as soon as that happened, it was hell in a handbasket, if you will, right? We had just moved into a new house. I lived very much more around all of my friends at the time, so I was able to do more. I was able to hang out more. I was able to get away with a lot more, and it got really ugly, right? From doing drugs to being an idiot. I busted my teeth out. These teeth right here, completely fake. I jumped on a car hood because my friend was on there, and my friend was driving, and the guy drove crazy, and I ended up busting my teeth on the windshield, and then I hit my head on the asphalt. Lucky to be alive. Probably had a concussion, right? But going through that, going through many other dumb times, from friends stealing, me stealing, again, doing drugs, being an idiot, causing a lot of disturbance in the new neighborhood we had just moved into, creating a lot of enemies, right? And creating a lot of bad karma, right? So this whole entire shit show. At that point, I pushed away from something I was seeking before this time, which was a relationship. I always wanted that relationship that I had with the girl, but I didn't have I wanted a relationship. I wanted a loving relationship in general, but I didn't have the mindset or the commitment to really be a part of something like that. So in this point in my life, when I'm going to put myself through all this mix of shit, I pushed myself away from relationships. I said, I don't need a relationship. Why would I? I'm not committed. I don't care about it. I don't need love. I'm hurt. Right? I don't need love. I'm hurt. I'm feeling all this pain from situations with my father and, all that. Right? So I'm like, I don't need love. I'm hurt. I'm gonna do me. I know what's best for me. Right? Or really just like, fuck it. I don't care what's best for me. I'm what's best for me. I know what's best, and it's pleasure. It's going after these silly pleasures that do nothing but cause more havoc in my life. Right? So I started down this path, and I pushed away from a relationship, right? And then God or the universe, whatever you choose to believe in, for me it was, at the time, it just seemed like the universe, well, what it seems like now is the universe, it was God, sent my now fiance into my life, right? Sent her into my life to help me get out of this mess I was creating, right? And it was in this time period that I let go of a relationship. I mean, I remember telling her, we talk about it whenever we think about it, that some of my first words in this conversation was like, I'm not looking for a real relationship right now. Because I knew the pain that I had put, people through, and then what I had put myself through in previous relationships. And I was not, it's not a concern right now. I'm not trying to do all that. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm just trying to, screw around. I'm just trying to chase these simple pleasures because they're so good for me, right? Well, here we are 6 years later, turning my life around completely, right? And it all started with realizing the negative in my situation, right? Her coming into my life helped me see how these different people in my life were just shitty people, or they had shitty habits, or their entire understanding of life was different than mine, and we did not need to be a part of one another's circle, right? And that was a slow process of getting away from all of that, right? But over time, I got away from the childish behaviors. I knew I wanted to work from a very young age. I knew I wanted to make my own money. So I was able to start getting more jobs and start doing more things for money and working more on myself in small ways, right? Still hated school. But, and I was laying out of school. Laying out a lot of school, chasing simple pleasures, laying in bed with my now fiance, right? But it was that laying in bed and chasing that simple pleasure that opened me up to the idea that, man, what can I do to do this all day? What can I do to I know I don't want to go to college. I hate school at this point. I hate learning at this point. It's just such an awful thing to say. But what can I do? Well, started looking online. More than ever nowadays, you see the internet opportunities. So I started opening my mind up, and I started looking at the different possibilities, right? I started looking at what I could actually do with my life. All the different possibilities. And that's, it's a lot to think about, especially when you're young and that you were just that lost a few years before, right? So from there, once I got the more and more negative out of the way, I created the habits of removing negativity slowly but surely. It took some time. And I created the habit of looking at positive outcomes. And then I just started working on my habits. I started looking at what my daily pursuit was giving me, right? Especially around the 2 to 3 year mark ago or so. I really doubled down on my habit calibration, looking at where my habits were taking me on a very granular level, right? Because if you don't do that, well, your habits are going to take you wherever you're going to take you, right? Just like when I was 16 being an idiot, my habits were taking me towards the jailhouse, a cement block in the ground, or should I say a coffin in the ground, I guess I should say, or just being a bum and a shitty person. And I knew I was meant for more than that. So, 3 things. Remove the negative lens from your life. Get out of leisure limbo, right? Understand your true potential. Understand how exciting life can and should be by looking at all the possibilities. And then get your habits right. get your moving towards where you need to go looking better. Understand what it looks like right now and work on the little things one bit by bit. Okay? And start moving towards where the life that the life that excites you to think about. Okay? I hope this helps. Opened up a little bit here. Again, I really hope it helps. Right? It helps you, give you some insight. Everybody's got their own, screwed up story. So, if you liked it, like, comment, share, subscribe. Share it with somebody who could need it. Share it with somebody who could need to hear it. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Share it with somebody who could need to hear it. Right? Share it with somebody who is stuck in their own head, in their own negative way, stuck in their own environment. We can all make a difference, man. All we got to do is keep putting one foot in front of the other and really push the need to help one another. Okay? That's all I got.